What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz. Guys, today we have a Forging Fortitude episode for you. First one of season 3.
Smooth.
Yeah, dude. I'm really excited for this one.
Tell me about two words just flowing together. Come on.
No
now.
kidding. What
Come
is
on
that
now.
called? Alliteration when it's the
Is
same
that right?
letters?
Is that right? Yeah, I think
believe
that's right.
Yeah. I went to honors language arts
You're a
class.
language arts major.
It's fine. It's fine. Whoa, major. No, I was
Imagine how bad that would be. Oh, I'd be miserable.
Guys, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time listening, first of all, thank you for choosing us. If it is your first time, we have 5 formats for our podcast. First, like we have today, we have Forging Fortitude. This is where we cover the mental side of things, okay? So the overall idea of our brand is combining the physical and mental health and combining them into one and really exploiting the connection between the two, which is actually what we're going to do quite a bit with today. Next, we have Physical Vitality. This is where we cover the physical side of things. So these are our more fitness-based episodes, okay? You got 2 certified personal trainers, and this is kind of our expertise. This is what we do every single day for a living, and this is what we do every single day for ourselves as well. So we're going to talk a lot about being at your peak form physically in those episodes.
Beautiful. So our final 2 with the obvious added one on the 5th one there is first our breaking news episodes, which breaking news is a little throwback to current event type of episodes. Fits pretty well, I think, for those of you that are just listening to season 3 now. But we go over past and how it connects to the current day. We talk about current day events. We give our opinions on them. We call out bullshit. We're like, okay, should you be freaking out on this? Should you not? That type of thing. And then our next one is our Knights Table episodes, which are
Dirty.
For the men, for the boys. But we actually do have a strong female listenership on those episodes as well.
Yeah.
And which we love because
Yeah.
we absolutely love those episodes. As you can tell, it's kind of a cool name. Creative guys, or should I say creative producer. In
What's
Mitchell
up?
Gable over here.
What's up?
But guys, our 5th one, pretty obvious, is our guest episodes. We're keeping that pretty simple. We bring somebody on that brings you value, that we believe, that we connect with really well, and that we can bring you a good conversation. Put simply, yeah.
Well, you want to hop right in?
Yeah, dude.
All right,
do
dude.
it. Let's do it.
Season 3, episode 2. Here we go. Forging Fortitude. Guys, the overall idea of this episode is going to be the pursuit of pain. The pursuit of pain. We're about to tell you what that means. Okay. So, Mitch over there is reading a book. What's it called, Mitch?
Dopamine Nation.
Dopamine Nation. Why don't you kind of explain the overall idea of this book?
The idea is to find balance. This is off the front cover. In the age of indulgence, and I think it's a really good idea. Well, the author, I think I said, was Anna Lemke.
Yeah, you mentioned this book in the first episode.
Yep.
She's a psychologist, I want to say.
Yeah.
So she has to diagnose patients. So she kind of has an understanding of a lot of the mental side of things. And
She's also a very close friend of Andrew Huberman.
yes,
as
extremely
well.
intelligent
There we
people.
go.
Extremely
there we go.
intelligent. But the whole idea is how our world is pushed with pleasure all day long, right?
Right.
Nothing should be hard. Everything should be easy.
Quick.
You should never feel sad. You should never be depressed. Everything should be rainbows all day long. And
Yeah.
she really is diving
Especially
in.
if you're a Bud Light fan.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. We're
All right,
based.
wrong episodes.
Yeah.
Breaking
Come back for a breaking news episode.
But the idea is to find balance between, pleasure and pain and kind of,
Yeah.
merge those two sides and be able to maintain a level keel.
Right. Basically, nowadays, people are trying to make happiness the default. And that's, Mark Anthony Joe, a friend of ours, talks about that a lot. That happiness is not the default, but you actually have to go out and earn your happiness each and every day. And I really love that concept by him. And that kind of fits into what we're going to talk about here tonight.
100%.
But guys, basically, first point we want to cover is doing hard stuff, doing hard things is going to bring balance. And that balance, meaning that between pleasure and pain, okay? And as Mitch just went over, everything is pushed towards pleasure. And that's just not like a realistic way to live. There we go. That's the wording I was looking for. It's not a realistic way to live, okay? Because like I just said, happiness is not our default. We have to do things that are going to cause us to earn that happiness each and every day. This isn't like oh, I did this, so I'm going to be happy for a week straight. Oh, I did this, I'm going to be happy this year. I made a New Year's resolution, so therefore I'm happy all year. Like, that's just not how it's going to work, because real quickly things are going to go south, So
the way she describes it is a seesaw. If you're piling everything on the pleasure side, you're never going to be able to, you're eventually going to kind of reorientate that baseline where the stuff that previously brought you pleasure does not anymore.
It doesn't anymore.
Right. It's like a drug, like heroin or
and
meth or something.
Yeah, and she deals with that in a lot of
100%.
clients, and she talks about that in the book, but it also could be a lot of normal day-to-day stuff that we see in our everyday lives. Porn, food, social media, and that baseline when you're constantly consuming those dopamine triggering, stimuli, you're never going to have that baseline. You're never going to be able to get enough of that.
Right. You're always searching for that first feeling is basically what you're saying there. The first time you watch a super funny movie, you're going to laugh your ass off. But then the second time, you're not going to laugh as much. The third time, the fourth time, and so on and so forth, you're going to stop laughing eventually because you know it's coming. And your body is no longer going to react to it. That's kind of an easy way to simplify that, And that's basically what our world is full of. And I think it's intentional. I don't know what you think, but I think it's intentional to basically make us mentally weaker, make us more depressed, more anxious, sadder, and just in general have mental health go south.
Yep.
And if you have a whole population or a whole country, a whole world full of people like that, well, I think and I know I'm not alone here in this room, but there's a greater agenda there, trying to conquer people, trying to divide people.
And I'm sure originally that wasn't the first part of the agenda, I guess. Like, I'm sure, like, originally it was to make life, like the cotton gin's a good example for that back in, we learned about that in history class and whatnot. It made picking cotton easier, that type of thing. Like, an invention like that is made to make something more efficient. You're able to then pick more cotton, that type of stuff. You're able to use, more cotton. You're able to distribute more cotton. Cool.
Sure.
So inventions, like, at their core, aren't necessarily evil. But the problem is it's gotten so quick. And one of my opinions that I'm sure you gentlemen would agree with, of course, but I tell a lot of people is I think our world has gotten too easy in every sort of way. Like, everything is too easy to access. Like Mitchell was just saying, you can access pornography within the click of a finger. You can access social media within the click of a finger. You can access Netflix within the click of a remote, etc.
Right.
And all that is at your touch right there. And the world has never had that.
Right.
It has always been, if you wanted food, you couldn't just go to a grocery store. You had to go hunt for it.
Sure.
You had to actually work for it for your family, or you had to, put in the hours at even an industrial plant back in the 1800s or something like that to then provide that for your family. So I wonder
if you want to meet a girl, you had to go talk to her.
That's
a good one there for especially young men around our age and whatnot. Really, people in general, but specifically those populations. You used to have to go talk to girls and whatnot, and now if you want to see a hot girl, you just go to a porn site
or $5 a month,
or you just you go to OnlyFans, you go to Instagram, whatever. Yeah, exactly, right. That's a very, very true point. You don't have to work for it anymore. You don't, and that is why younger boys, and that's a lot of who I work around. That's who I coach a lot. Like, they can't hold conversation. I'm not saying it's because 12-year-old boys aren't OnlyFans. Like, I'm sure there are some, and I hope to God I don't know any of them, but they can't hold conversations anymore because they have their conversations through their gaming headset or through their phone or whatever. We had a beautiful day here in St. Louis just this past week, and one of my boys came in to have a pitching lesson or something. It doesn't matter. I was like, "Hey, what'd you do today? It was beautiful outside. Did you get outside?" And he goes, "No, we played games all day." I was like, "Oh, like, did you play games outside?" And he goes, "No, we played Fortnite all day." I'm like, "Dude, you tell me you didn't go outside? Like, it was 75 and sunny. Like, it was amazing outside." And he just like kind of smiled. I was like, "No, we played Fortnite." And it's just like, dude, what are we doing? And we're kind of going down a line of a breaking news episode, and so maybe we should reel it back into what our overall idea here.
Granted, the hard stuff,
it still matters.
It attaches.
Yes.
It attaches the point, because like you said, with when it comes to men too, men had to build themselves up to be applicable or attractive to women as well.
Yes.
So that's another thing as well that goes into the quick dopamine. Is because accessing that pornography also then discourages you as a person, whether you're a male or female, from building yourself up.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you don't have to build yourself up to be attractive to a mate, what reason do you have to build yourself up? You can just access that quick dopamine at a finger's touch. So why not?
Exactly.
Why not just do that?
100%. That's why, and I know, especially because we are younger, and especially you and I, because we are involved in the fitness side of social media. So we see a lot of people around our age that are in the gym and, trying to inspire people just like we do, and we are. But you go to a gym like the one I do, it's mostly an older crowd. I am by far one of the youngest people that have a membership to that gym, at least at the times I go. Maybe it's different at different times, different days, whatever. I'm also there basically every single day. But far and away, I'm the youngest person. You go to a big box gym, far and away, there are more older people than younger people. And that's because those generations grew up with hey, I have to get after it every day if I'm going to be an attractive person. And this is why, or that is why that population as well knows the value of hard work and what that can do for you and whatnot. And that is, that's why a lot of younger populations are struggling so much with, well, what do you mean? Why can't I make $250K right now? Well, bro, you got to work for that.
That's the thing, because we see see it every day. We see it that this 17-year-old's making in the millions. Why can't I?
Right. Or you see, the influencers, and I'm not hating on influencers because in ways we are them as well. But obviously some people have bigger platforms. But you'll see basically fake influencers or fake mental coaches or whatever posing with a Huracan that they're leasing and stuff. Like it's fake. But it gives the impression that, well, we're 24 years old. Like, why aren't we making millions yet?
Why don't we have a Huracan?
Like, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
And instead, we're in here every day trying to grind and figure out new ways, learning new things. It goes back to the 3 tips we gave at the end of episode 1, is learning new skills. That's what we're doing, trying to build a business, trying to figure. We don't know how to build a business. We don't know how to build a podcast. But guess what? We're figuring it out along the way. We're doing the work.
Again, sure, do we hear tips and whatnot and
that's
tips
learning,
and tricks
though.
and stuff? It's learning.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know how to do it.
Exactly.
We haven't done it.
Exactly. You and I, we've talked a ton about real estate and whatnot, and how that's a very attractive thing for us to get into. We know a few people that are involved, so we're going to try and learn from them.
We're going to learn from them.
Exactly. Yeah, and we are. We're going to learn from them. And so we're going to learn how to do all that stuff. We're going to put the work in.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. You got to put that work in.
And that right there, what you're talking about is that earned dopamine that we kind of wanted to transition to, too, because it's the conversation about quick dopamine. Okay, obviously we just established that's bad. It's not a good thing, right? But then we establish earned dopamine and the idea of that and how important that really can be, because what you're even saying is, those few people we do know that are well-versed in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Learning from them is earned dopamine, because guess what? We can't just, they aren't just handing it to us either.
Oh, right.
We then go to them, we learn from them, and then we turn it into something.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
Right. And it's, there are so many other ways that we could get that fake dopamine too, if we wanted to. If we wanted to just fall in line is the biggest thing. If we wanted to just fall in line, be like everybody else, go through a degree program, not hating on degree programs. Some people are very successful at that. Mitchell, you're one of them. But if we wanted to just fall in line, we could. But no, we're trying to do something different. So we have to put that work in. We have to learn those new skills. We have to go have real conversations with real people. Jeff Lavecchio has been a great mentor to us.
Oh,
Brock Wilson,
massive.
Another one.
Yeah.
Both
those two gentlemen.
Andy, we don't know him personally, Andy Frisella, but we learn a lot from him. Bedros Koulian, another one. I go down the list of people that we don't just listen to their podcasts. We don't just read their books. No, we actually use it. Oh
yeah.
And that's exactly what we're trying to say here, guys, is get that real dopamine here. That's the point here. Get that real dopamine and whatever that is. There's a million different ways to do that, but you're going to have to go through some level of pain. You have to go through some level of pain to want to learn those things if you truly want it.
And that's one of the things Jocko talks a lot about. He always talks about no free dopamine, and it's the idea where it's funny because you'll learn about this in the book you're about to read too with Atomic Habits, is you can just stack stuff on top of each other. So let's say you want to go out to eat for dinner with your friends at night or something like that, because you want to enjoy a good meal out. Cool, awesome. But let's say there's going to be cheesecake. For sure you're going to be chowing on some cheesecake, which
I don't like cheesecake. So
you don't, do you really not?
It's all good.
All right, let's do cake then. But whatever dessert you prefer. Let's say you're having that. Jocko says something that can correlate with that is you have to knock out 50 push-ups before you go out to that.
Mm.
And then you start setting weird little habits like that.
Mhm.
You know, he always says, like, if you want to check your social media, knock out 10 push-ups. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a very simple because then if you correlate, you know, you knocking out the real dopamine in the push-ups with the quick dopamine, is then you start craving that
the 50 push-ups.
That 50 push-ups, that little bit harsher pain, so to speak.
So the only devil's advocate thing, and this is just something I'm thinking about here, what do you think about people who go work out to just quote unquote earn the meal? Or, I earned a night out drinking all night. So
there
what
we go.
do you think about
that's
that?
That's a great devil's advocate because it's important to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
I think if that's your first concern,
yeah.
Let's say right off the bat, that's a lot of people's concern when they probably first get into the gym. Like, you know, when they first discover fitness, they're like, man, now, you know, I can have my wine tonight.
Right. I worked out 3 days this week.
I can have, you know, some steak plus pasta, and that equals 2,500 calories in one meal or something like that. When my maintenance calories are
2,100.
2,100. Yeah.
Right.
So that's my problem, is because you're right. There's a big devil's advocate aspect to that, because you have to understand that there is a limit to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is like a cutoff as well.
100%.
And because yes, at first, will that probably work 100%?
Sure.
Because you're like I've talked about in past fitness episodes.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be the newbie gains. There's going to be that type of stuff that you
For
gain
sure.
from it, et cetera, which is great.
Great.
Awesome.
Super great.
In the first 6 months.
Right. I think it's awesome that that's how it starts, because
I
it
think
makes you want more.
I love it. Our bodies were literally designed behind it.
I know. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But so you'll get that initial results from it. But if you continue on, again, packing on 3,000 calories when your maintenance calories are 2,100 calories.
When you're not trying to bulk.
When you're not trying to bulk.
Right.
And you're 300 pounds, it's not going to go well for you. So you have to eventually set a standard where, let's say, like, you knock out those 50 push-ups, that reward on the other end starts getting smaller and smaller.
Sure.
You know, at first you check social media for 5 minutes. Next you check it for 3. Next you check it for 2, et cetera, down the line.
And then before you realize it, you're not even on it.
Before you realize it, you're just doing push-ups to do push-ups.
Exactly.
And that's the idea. So if you're not seeing any actual progress, and you guys can be honest with yourself on this type of stuff.
You have to be.
You have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. So you have to look like, okay, am I really just exercising and my physique stays the same and I feel the same, but I'm just telling myself it's equally and I can go get ice cream.
Right. And I think there's also an aspect to this that is almost priming yourself for instant gratification, which, as we all know, is not going to happen in the gym. Now, yes, first 6 months, if you are brand new to the gym, especially if you are severely overweight or even underweight, you are going to see physical changes very quickly. You will. I did myself. And I wasn't even 300 pounds, but I was heavy. Okay? But it'll happen quick. It really will. But you have to go into it knowing that instant gratification has got to go away.
Oh, yeah.
The desire for instant gratification has to go away. Otherwise, you will get discouraged. You will. And I said this in a past episode, where the moment you start in fitness, you're signing a lifelong contract if you really want those results. And I think that's one of the most true things I've ever said. And if you are constantly, okay, I worked out today, so I earned that bullshit meal tonight. Or I worked out 3 times this week, so I can go out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night and party.
Yep.
Like, dude.
And the alcohol butchers your recovery.
Exactly. Because you're putting down 8, 10, 12 beers all 3 of those nights.
And it's probably all Bud Lights, too.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is you're never going to see results that way.
Yep.
You never will see. And I'm not saying don't ever drink or anything like that. Like, go enjoy some drinking. It's fine.
Don't ever sit here and just take what Wurtz and I are saying to the extreme.
Of course, because we would be hypocritical. Now, granted, like right now, and this isn't just because I'm on 75 hard, although I guess by the time you guys listen to this, I won't be. But anyway, it's not even just because I'm on it right now. Like, I've kind of lost almost interest for drinking. Like, not necessarily that I'm going to give it up for life or anything like that, because I don't have an actual reason.
It's not
like an actual event, but I'm just like,
it's not the same.
I think I'm just super hyper focused on my results right now, and it's working so well that I'm just really excited.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm not going to do anything that's going to put that in jeopardy. But that's me being in the gym for my 2 or 3 years, having an understanding that I'm not going to see results every single day. As a matter of fact, you're not even really going to see results week to week. You know, you probably will month to month, but if you have this idea of instant gratification, like it's never going to work out.
And so, guys, of course, we give you the fitness examples because, it relates to us really well.
For sure.
A good example when it comes to either the career or the or the entrepreneurship side of things is on Mitchell's end when it comes to the career / going to college, etc. A good example of delayed gratification is that he knocked out a year of college credit before you came to college, and then you picked a major that was very applicable to the modern world now, that is now providing you with a good career and a really good career at that. And I think a lot of people go into like university, like you were talking about. What you were talking about with university is just going in and just kind of partying and getting your business degree and you hopefully using it.
And then you're in sales,
maybe,
or you're in marketing.
Yeah, when you could have just
it's like
18 and gone right to that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
or gone to the trades and made double, triple.
Well, that's
trades.
another good route. But we're like we're
Yes.
saying like the people that don't
Yes.
use college in the way that you did, or that someone who wants to become a lawyer or a doctor,
Yep.
like somebody
Yeah.
where you obviously have to go to
But
school.
what was it, about a year of college credit, Mitch? Before?
Yeah, I entered college with, well, no, it was over a year. I entered college with close to 45 credits.
I think my sister is going,
And I was
in
able
with
to,
a
I
year
think
now.
you're
because
right,
I
so
entered
yeah.
with that much, I was able to kind of dick around and do like a couple of,
Buzz through.
a couple of classes that I actually was not doing for just solely my major. Like I
Yeah.
literally
like
had
fun classes.
Didn't you do a
basically.
fishing one?
Yes, I literally had a class that was about like fishing solely. And it was super interesting. Hey, you laugh at me. That shit was hella interesting.
It's just
Well,
wild that's offered.
And
Yeah.
what is funny is a lot of people would just laugh at, oh, he took a fishing class. That is applicable. You know how to fish.
Dude,
That's like what's the phrase? It's teach a man to fish and then he'll never be hungry.
it wasn't even
Something
solely
like that,
about
yeah.
but like low key, that was like top 3 classes. I actually really
I bet it
enjoyed
was.
that class.
Yeah.
But I think, and you literally mentioned this before we started, the microdosing adversity,
Yeah.
how you're detail oriented. And if you're microdosing that throughout the day, say, like you guys were kind of talking about the extended dopamine with 10 push-ups or whatever. Well, that's also a microdose where you're doing stuff that's not necessarily impossible throughout the day, but stuff that's hard enough to push you that much farther ahead.
Yeah.
And in the mental side for me, yes, on getting through college quicker, save money financially, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. One big thing I attribute a lot of my success to is, I mean, you guys know I don't really enjoy talking to people. It's not my most favorite thing. Or going out to meet. I can talk to people, but it's not my most favorite thing to go out and meet new people.
Right.
But immediately, my freshman year, literally, I was at school for a month, and I went to a job fair that was on campus at St. Cloud. And I printed out, I don't know, like 20 copies of my resume. And I literally went to the job fair and talked to people, recruiters, face to face, each person for at least 20 minutes, even though I'm a freshman, so I have very little chance of an internship or anything. But I just talked to people and networked and forced myself out of my comfort zone to actually engage in people and be able to converse. And I attribute a big success, especially in the cybersecurity world, a lot of it is not necessarily education-based. To get your foot in the door, it's education-based, but to really level up is experience-based. And my internship at 3M, big, huge global company, I attribute a lot of my success to, and I got that through networking directly and conversing with people. That's a hard thing to do. Most people don't want to talk to people face to face.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes on the conversation where up and down, the whole education system in the world today, you see easy cop-outs. We saw it with COVID. Zoom class, Zoom University. It was a joke.
Yeah.
It's a cop-out.
I mean, yeah, you could literally Quizlet the entire class.
Yes, your professor asks you a
Right.
question. You can either say your mic isn't working, your camera isn't working, so on and so forth. There's so many cop-outs you can have throughout the education system, and I forced myself to go around those. I would still force myself to go into class. I would force myself to sit in the front row, ask questions. It's microdosing that stuff that you don't want to do, but that will make you far and away that much better.
Right. Well, and essentially what you were doing, whether it's applied to an educational sense or in the gym or a financial sense, is you're raising the standard.
Correct.
You're raising your own personal standard each and every day, and that's a big point of this episode being the pursuit of pain, and we'll kind of get into that here in a second, what that actually means, the pursuit of pain. But if you are constantly raising your own personal standard, like what Mitch was doing there, guys, he was continuing to do the hard things that you do, and we continue to do the hard things that we do every day, such as going to the gym. Like those are hard workouts. You get through them, and they're hard because we also know how to push ourselves. We're not just in there, curling 5-pound dumbbells every single day.
Well, speak for yourself, buddy. I mean, I've gotten all my muscle from 5-pound dumbbells.
I actually walk around the neighborhood, like, the neighborhood moms that go around and pump with the 1 pound wrist weights.
Yep.
Oh, man.
I mean, hey, it will give you some benefit.
Don't get me wrong. It'll give you results.
Talk about
body weight workouts can be
Oh,
just
yeah.
as badass as
Oh,
lifting
man.
500 pounds.
I am toned.
Dude just has unbelievable forearms. But
Jiu-jitsu forearms.
But if you continue to do the hard things you do, okay, that's great. That's a great place to start, and you need to continue doing those. You should never ever. Those are staples. Basically, is the point. Those are staples, and those are things that can never fade away. If you truly want to maintain the lifestyle that you either have, are working towards, or both, okay, those can never ever go away. Whatever that is for you, the gym being included, especially for us. But if you are going to really get into this pursuit of pain, and we actually have a couple quotes here where scientifically this will have benefits for your body as well, but finding new ways to challenge yourself. So like one, and I can let you speak on this, but like you just ran a half marathon not too long ago. We haven't even talked about that on here yet.
I guess we haven't, yeah.
Like you ran a half marathon. One for me personally would be when we did the Murph. What was it, 2 summers ago maybe?
Are you talking about the first Murph we did?
It's the only one I've ever done personally.
Oh, guess no, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I believe that was a 2021
and you were like, I don't know if I'm able to do the pull-ups, dude.
Yeah. And guess what I did?
Guess
the
what?
100 pull-ups.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's something that's in this book that Mitch has is basically when you place something up in your mind that it's going to be hard, this is going to be hard, this is going to be hard, and then you force yourself to get through it, you're going to quickly find out that, one, it either wasn't quite as bad as what you played it up to be, because oftentimes we make stuff out to be a lot worse than what it's actually going to be in our own minds.
100%.
You probably made it out to be a lot worse sitting in the front of class than what it actually was, because now you're seeing the benefits of that. Like, wow, if I wouldn't have sat in the front of class, like I would have just had a looming question that I never would have asked, or I never would have gotten comfortable being basically in front of a lot of people while talking, things like that. A good example for myself on that is that San Diego trip. Very similar to your job fair.
That's what I was about to say.
Where I had to, and I'm a little bit different. I don't mind socializing. I like to think I'm a pretty good socializer. I enjoy that. But in my eyes, all these people at the MLB winter meetings were just like superstars in my eyes. And like, how could I ever associate with them? How could I ever talk to them? Well, guess what? You just go up and you start talking.
Right.
You don't be an idiot. You don't be rude. You don't be annoying. You don't be a weirdo. But you stick your hand out, you shake your hand, and you get through it and you learn from it, and it's going to help. But all of those, everything we just listed, those are all examples of finding new ways to challenge yourself. Taking cold showers, getting into a cold bathtub, getting into the sauna, just running in general. Like if I just continue to ruck every single day, eventually it's no longer pushing myself because it's what I do every single day. But I have to find a new way, a new route, new hills to go up or down, new distances to go, new weights maybe,
New speeds like somebody we know.
New speeds, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That guy will be on the podcast here soon. But
savage.
Yeah. But you in the gym, okay? Last week I did I guess there is truth to this, but last week I did 2 sets of 6 at 315 deadlifts. So this week I'm going to try and get 3 sets, things like that. So doing another set at the highest weight you can, or just doing another set in general, things like that. That's a good gym example. So you have to continue to find new ways to push yourself and put yourself through new pain as well.
Continue to release a new episode every week.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. Continue posting, continue learning how to do better content, stuff like that.
Only get so many listens for so long and whatnot.
Right.
And then it starts slowly creeping up.
Exactly.
Slowly creeping up.
Right.
You start feeling like you're bringing a lot of value to people, which you were originally, but it's like it starts feeling like it's really clicking now.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding ways to step up that quality of the value.
Like
Exactly. Right.
somebody helped us with.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Thank you, Mitchell.
I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
Yeah. Too humble on that one.
Well, one example, so you mentioned cold showers. So here's an actual quote from Anna in the book. So she's talking about a patient of hers who I believe was addicted to cocaine, and he
Booger sugar?
Skiing the slopes,
Jesus.
skiing the Alps.
Anywho,
Nicaraguan, yes.
oh,
Wow, I've never heard that one. Man.
Okay, I can't lie. I took that from New Girl, the TV show. I'm
Anywho.
sorry. Please go on. buddy.
Anywho, so he was constantly chasing a high, and he found that high in cold baths. So here you're talking about raising the standards as well. So this eventually got to where he was almost addicted to cold baths, so to speak. He would put it in like a deep freeze, and he found a thing where if you're in it for long enough, like your body heat will warm the water, which makes sense to me.
Sure. Yeah.
But he would get like a pump that would like circulate the water. So it was at at 33 degrees. It never would, raise from.
Degrees.
So he would open the deep freeze and, it'd be, ice.
Frozen, right?
Yeah. He would break it up and then it would circulate it right at 33. And so his body heat wouldn't raise it. So he never would, be able to.
This guy.
Yeah.
Is this Clark Kent?
And
Is his name David Goggins by
No.
chance?
No, oh my
But
god.
anywho, so the point is here's a quote from the book. Scientists at Charles University in Prague, writing in the European Journal of Applied Physiology, conducted an experiment in which 10 men volunteered to submerge themselves head out in cold water, 14 degrees Celsius for 1 hour, which is 57 degrees Fahrenheit. In America, we use freedom units. Come on, people.
Freedom units. Love it.
Using blood samples, the research that wasn't the quote. Also, she didn't say that.
Well, yeah.
Using
We're
blood
just based.
samples, the researchers showed that plasma, blood, dopamine concentrations increased 250%, and plasma norepinephrine, I probably pronounced that wrong,
No, you got it. That was right.
concentrations increased 530% as a result of cold water immersion.
I think it worked.
Wait, say that percentage again.
So dopamine concentrations increased 250%, and plasma norepinephrine concentrations increased 530% as a result of cold water immersion.
Gosh.
Dopamine rose gradually and steadily over the course of the cold bath and remained elevated for an hour afterwards. Norepinephrine rose precipitously in the first 30 minutes, plateaued in the latter 30 minutes, and dropped by about a third in the hour afterwards, but remained elevated well above baseline into the second hour after the bath. Dopamine and norepinephrine levels endured well beyond the painful stimulus itself, which explains Michael's statement, who was her patient. Right after I get out, I feel great for hours.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, not at all trying to compare to that, but when I take cold showers, yeah, it sucks ass. You never get used to it. Ever.
I have never once enjoyed a cold shower.
No, the only times you do is if it's 95 degrees outside,
yeah,
you're
sure.
just
It's
done.
it's a St. Louis humidity summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
But let's exclude that.
Mm.
It sucks. It's horrible. You never get used to it. Never. Ever, ever, ever. But when you get out, you feel really, really good. I mean, you feel really good. It's kind of inexplainable.
It's euphoric.
Yeah, in a way.
It's definitely
Absolutely.
euphoric,
Yeah. So I could almost, in a way, see how this guy was getting addicted to it because you want to feel good. You want to feel good. Like we said, you want to earn that happiness. You want to earn feeling good. And if that's a way to do it, that's not going to, destroy your body with drugs. It's not going to destroy your mind like porn, stuff like that. Yeah, of course you're going to get addicted to something like that.
Yep. It's crazy though. That is the definition of a microdose right there.
Exactly.
3 minutes long.
Yeah.
3 to 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
For
Hell,
most,
dude,
for
30
most people.
seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
And because Mitchell, what you were talking about was actually what Huberman has been expanding on a little bit because he said 3 to 5 hours that dopamine spike lasts, which is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Because I
don't know if there's anything else that could give you that level for that long. For that long.
I mean, it would have to be probably an LSD or a mushroom trip or something like that.
Or she talks about a lot.
Psilocybin.
Well, no, human manufactured opioids, synthetic
there we go.
opioids are the
Okay,
only
yeah.
thing
Yep.
are the only things that can get you that high, and that's why we're
ridiculous.
having such a huge
Problem. Yeah.
fentanyl.
Yeah.
That's why it kills people like that because
Right.
they're all synthetic manufactured drugs that
Mm-hmm.
shoot you to the moon. But that's on that's the pleasure side. We're discussing the pain side, and hear how pain can benefit you
Right.
and balance out that out.
Right.
Can balance out that need for really negative pleasure.
Correct.
Right.
In this case.
Because, when you leave the gym, you feel like you're on top of the world. I mean, you feel great, and that's that dopamine
So I
being
felt
triggered
good,
and whatnot, and you feel great. But then, I don't know, an hour later, you're not feeling the same way you did when you
It
walked
wears
out of the
off,
gym.
for
I'm
sure.
not saying
Yeah.
you're going to be sad and depressed, but you just don't have that high of feeling like you're on top of the world, honestly.
Some people make that too much of their identity sometimes because they spend the hour after like really happy, and then they're like, dude, like this is the time where the gym sadness kicks in.
Yeah.
I literally saw memes like that.
Yeah.
So that's the
I
thing,
know
guys.
exactly
Like
what you're talking about.
you shouldn't be just because, like, for example, let's say like in this research we just read that you expect you in your mind expect the dopamine to last for 3 to 5 hours, but then after that you're like, well, this is the time it wears off,
Now what do I do?
and now I got to go cry in a corner.
Right.
You can't set yourself in that headspace.
Right.
Just like the same memes we're talking about, there are literally guys there are either videos or TikToks, reels, whatever, that showcase basically a dude on the way to the gym, super pumped up, at the gym, super pumped, after the gym for about an hour or so, feels super jacked, super happy, whatever, and then after that, gym feels kick in.
Right.
I have nothing else to look forward to in my day.
Right.
It's like, what?
Another like comparison to that in the gym would be when you have a really good pump going. You look at yourself in the mirror, maybe you hit some poses or you flex or whatever. You're like, damn, I look good. I'm vascular right now. Like I look jacked. And then an hour later, you're like, man, I am tiny.
I'm so small.
I'm so small. It's like, no, dude, you just had a lot of blood flow to your biceps.
Yeah, like no duh.
Chill.
No duh, dude. That's
Yeah,
exactly how it works.
You take a pre-workout that is designed to have to increase blood flow. Like
literally
Duh.
vasodilates you.
Exactly.
Like that's the idea.
But think about that. That's also the elevating the standard, raising the standard, where eventually you won't need a pump to look that big.
Exactly. Exactly.
You'll
Sounds
just
evil.
you'll just
Right.
naturally flex, and you'll be diced.
And that is delayed gratification, right there.
Correct.
And that is exactly what you're hunting.
Exactly.
That is exactly what you should be
Yep.
hunting.
You should have seen Mitchell flexing in the mirror after 75 hard, guys. You want to
Oh.
talk about delayed gratification.
Oh.
Dude's all of a sudden, he always made fun of me for flexing in the mirror. All of a sudden now, he's the one doing it every day. So,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never done
Yeah,
that. in
never
my
heard of
life
that.
either.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop lying.
oh, okay.
Seriously, bro.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
alone here.
Stop the
Yeah,
cap.
yep.
Stop the
Yeah.
cap. Come on. Come on now. We don't flex here on the
Yeah.
Untapped Podcast, ladies and
Oh, sorry, that slipped out.
Check the video for that one.
Check the video. Check the YouTube.
I'm blanking that out.
We are on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen.
There'll be a black square of that. Sorry, no one will see that. Anywho, one thing I also kind of wanted to mention is Anna also discusses how you can inhibit a lot of pain with little pain. We see this in physical remedies, and I think you guys probably know a lot about this: cupping, acupuncture,
Dry needling.
Is that the same thing?
Dry needle. No. Well, it can be technically, but dry needling is like along with the electrical stimulus.
Gotcha.
along
Yeah,
with it.
electrical stimulus.
Yeah.
What's the stuff where you like do a super hard massage?
Oh, a deep tissue massage.
Deep tissue
Yeah.
massage. So doing that stuff.
Normatex would probably fit into this.
Normatex
Yes.
are technically compression therapy too.
Or
And
there you
then
go, right.
and then I think like the massage guns, they're pretty much considered the same thing.
Yeah.
Like some form of compression therapy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So the idea, and this could be in the mental side as well, is you're fighting, your bigger pains, your bigger stresses with little pains that you can handle.
Fighting pain with pain.
Exactly. One step at a
Yep.
time. One example is the stress of financials, or, you feel like you're lacking education. One way I fight that, there's a big thing in the cybersecurity industry where you have imposter syndrome. There's so much
Huge.
to know.
I think everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's like very big in the personal
It's
training
everywhere
industry too.
where
100%, yeah.
you feel like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And you
Yep.
question yourself daily. And one way you can combat that great big pain is to fight it with little pain. One way I fight it with little pain is I force myself to do an hour of self-education every day. It sucks. I don't want to sit down or read or learn something every day. That's a little pain. It's an annoyance. It makes me work my brain when I don't want to work my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the mental side. We can talk about the physical side as well. But that's a huge discussion in this book, is being able to find that balance. By fighting that with pain, you can also level out your pleasure side via, having that stressor removed, right? You can
Yeah.
get much more pleasure by removing that great pain through a little pain.
Well, I mean, think about how much long-term, large pain that gets rid of for you by doing that hour of self-education.
Yep.
Because then what happens is, your financial struggles become a lot less because all of a sudden your salary starts going up.
Right.
You start demanding a higher salary because you have a lot more skills if you're an entrepreneur. And I mean, Mitch, that's perfect because then think about it when you have a family, you're also able to spend more time with your children.
Yep.
Because the fact that you now have a more flexible job that pays you a high salary because you have so many skills, they can't even get rid of you.
Right.
They're like, we can't lose this guy.
Right.
And you're able to only work for 5 hours a day or something like that.
It would be more expensive for them to not have
Oh
you.
yeah, it would be idiotic for them not to have you at that point in time. And the thing is, then you work for 5 hours a day, and it's really solid work. But then you go spend the rest of the time with your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you take away the pain of especially as fathers, none of us are fathers. So I should specify that, I guess. But as fathers, one of the books I'm reading is The Boy Crisis. I'll speak on that in the future. But one of the pains as fathers is not spending enough time with their families because a lot of the times, like, they're the ones that stay latest at work. They're the ones that show up early at work. They're et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you do that hour of self-education, when you're 22, all of a sudden now when you're 35, then you only have to work that 5 hours and you can spend time with your son, your daughter, et cetera, your wife.
And unfortunately,
Boom.
you see this in America. This is kind of a standard for folks who may be kind of stuck in a ruck, and it touches on the first point, where you'll get your paycheck on Friday and you'll blow it partying all weekend, and then you'll just do the exact same thing week after week after week, and you're not fighting pain with pain there. You're fighting that pain of not being able to get out of that rut with a short two-day pleasure.
Right.
And then you're right back where you started.
And then you're complaining about not having enough money and all this stuff. Well, change something then. Change something.
And it's going to be painful.
Exactly.
Man,
and
dude, Monday's going to be awful.
And you're going to have some FOMO, like you're going to have that fear of missing out with the boys out at the bar. And it's like, well, you're getting better. And they're not.
And what did you just say? Fear of missing out, small pain.
Exactly. In the long run,
small pain for the
very small
long-term
pain.
gratification.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
They're going to have a lot of pain when you pull up your new Lambo and they're driving a broken-ass VW.
Exactly. Right. I mean, you're 100% right, though.
Yeah.
Big
Big Urus guy, personally. But,
Man, just a dumb car.
Come on, Lambo trucks? What's wrong with them? Nothing wrong with those.
It's a little sus. I'd rather get the Lambo boat. That Conor McGregor.
There's a Lamborghini.
Okay,
a
that actually
Lamborghini
said-
yacht.
that Conor McGregor has.
Oh, yeah.
it's
It was,
badass.
is it 15 mil, right?
Oh,
I have no idea.
Something
Honestly,
easy like that.
after
yeah.
seeing Tate's Bugatti, it's kind of nasty.
Yeah, I never was like a
Bugatti.
Bugatti guy
I know, me
before I saw
neither.
that video, and I was like, okay,
And then the
this
watch
is
that you can get with it, it's sick.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry guys, we can't help ourselves.
exactly. But I really like the overall idea of fighting pain with pain. Another really good way is, you have a mental stress, whether that's work, family, financial related, or breakup, stuff like that. Like the gym's a great place for it. I know we advocate for the gym, and you guys probably think we're just meatheads, and maybe we are to an extent, but
Oh yeah, to an extent.
But-
I mean, Jeff calls us meats, so
yeah,
we must be
exactly.
to a certain
'Cause we're
extent.
jacked,
Yeah,
so.
thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you.
But it's a great example. I mean, there are times where the gym I'm at, it's called House of Pain. There's a reason for that sometimes. You know what I mean? Physical pain, mental pain. Like sometimes, like I take that name very, very literally. It can be a haven in a way. But I like the overall idea of fighting pain with pain. Okay, you're going through something very, very difficult in your mind. Fight it with a physical pain. Fight it with that physical pain, and not only is your mind going to be taken off of that other thing because you're accomplishing something else, but you're going to feel productive then too, because again, you are accomplishing something good for your mental and for your physical. So I really, really like that fight pain with pain. It's not like we came up with that because that's obviously a term that people use, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. I really do.
So you speaking of breakups, and I've talked about this. I believe midway through season 2 is when we kind of dove into this a little bit deeper. But my last relationship, after it ended, I clearly remember looking back on it, and pretty much like probably 2 weeks to a month after it ended, I decided it was the only way I was going to handle this was to better myself.
Yeah.
So it was almost like what we're talking about with the large pain, which was the breakup and the mental heartbreak and the the heartache that came from that. There was that. There was a looming huge cloud of pain from that.
Absolutely.
But then each day it came with the gym. It came with physical fitness in general. It came with, mentally working on ourselves. It came with reconnecting with you. It
I was
came
gonna
with
say that was right around the time that we did.
and that was part of the way you, the gym, us starting to build our dreams and whatnot. That
Right.
started chipping away on helping me be able to recover from that heartache. Pretty, what I would consider pretty well.
Right.
As heartaches go, like everybody, has their heartbreaks and whatnot, and they hurt. They hurt like a bitch.
Sucks, man.
But it was that slow, like again, like this is what we were talking about with the small pain. The small pain to me is like this little chisel slowly carving out a statue from that cloud of shit, basically. That cloud of pain at that point in time, or that big stone block of pain is now being chiseled by this little small chisel of pain into a statue.
And you're hammering away every day at it.
100%.
100%. I think that's a great way to put that, dude. I really do. I think that's a really powerful message as well. This is a little bit of a side note, but you said when we reconnected and building our dreams together and whatnot, which we are, which is badass.
Pretty awesome that it's almost been 3 years.
On that. Yeah.
October will be 3 years.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, October will be 3 years for Extrication, but we started before that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But part of the reconnection that we had and what made it even more powerful was realizing that we had some similar dreams, but we didn't really tell anyone about them because we thought we were kind of like crazy for thinking those things. Yeah, right. I don't know about sus. I mean,
questionable.
Did you get hard eyes for me or something?
Well,
what's going on here, bro?
That's another type of dream. I won't tell you. I'll tell you about later.
Mitch. But anyway, like realizing like, oh shit, like we kind of have some similar ideas on some things. Like
100%.
We should do this. And so I think that's part of the reason that the universe and God and whatever else brought us back together was because we both were starting to think about those types of things, and then you go through something like that. And at the same time, I'm overweight. And like, boom, it was just like a perfect storm. And here we are, 3 years later. Like it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when you think
poetic.
about that. Yeah. So we both had our own pains going on. And so we started fighting that pain with different pain.
Yep.
How do we start a business? Like, how do we figure out how to make millions of dollars and impact people's lives? And like, we can't be fitness influencers. Like, what? Like, how do we do all that? Like, this is going to suck. Like, this is going to be weird. Why don't I just continue working at a movie theater? But no, here we are. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. So all of that can kind of come together. And so, guys, just the overall idea here in the pursuit of pain, don't go out looking for physical pain. Like, that's obviously not what we're saying here now. Now that we have kind of gone over.
Please don't get in fights.
No, exactly. Please. Exactly. Yeah. But when you are dealing with pains in any way, mental pain specifically here, is finding a different type of pain and a different way to induce pain on yourself to then negate that other pain. So we just named off a bunch of situations where that directly applies. And we gave you a lot of ways that we've used that we've used pain to fight pain, that we have used, but then there's also just plenty of other examples that we covered as well that might apply to you as well. And we even got science involved with Dopamine Nation there, that book that Mitch has, which is pretty cool. And honestly, it's making me really, really eager to read that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But anyway, guys, like, fight pain with pain, man. Fight pain with pain. Whatever that pain is for you, fight it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I got, 100%.
Yeah. Guys, at the end of our episodes, we're going to continue having Mitch ask us a question that is submitted by you guys, the listeners or viewers. If you don't know how to submit those, DM those to us on our Instagram. We are at untapped.llp on Instagram. Facebook, I believe we are on tap now as well. It took us a second to get that switched. And then there's also an email button on our Instagram too, if you would rather email that, or just DM them to us personally. Either any of those ways works. All of them go straight to Mitch. We really don't even look at them. We don't dive into them. We give them straight to Mitch. He's got a whole bank, and then he picks one out. So Mitch, hit us with it.
The cliche before we go into this, it's just basically the cliche saying of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%. I love that.
That never gets old, dude.
Yeah.
Never.
And then like a Goggins one is being uncommon amongst the uncommon.
Yes.
Like that's even taking it further.
Great sayings.
But it's awesome. Yeah, both of those lines are great.
Alrighty. So the question tonight is, what are ways to set reasonable expectations?
Reasonable ways to set
What are ways to
ways to
set
set
reasonable
expectations?
expectations?
Yeah. The first one that came to my mind right up hearing this, because I've been doing this a lot at work lately, and in general because Jeff talked about something on their podcast, on Give More Be More podcast, where it was like the reverse engineering concept. And another thing that stemmed off of that, which I, funny enough, learned in college, and it's a very basic concept that I think a lot of people that get into business find and get into some form of probably commission based entrepreneurship. A lot of times that's pretty common, but it's the idea of what's called SMART goals, guys. So it's an acronym for SMART is.
This is a NASM thing too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So again, this is a very common concept.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know it, it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and then time-based goals.
Yep.
All 5 of those right there. So again, if you need, I'll go through them again. Specific.
So let's touch on each one. So, and we've talked about this in either season 1 or season 2 in a fitness episode. Specific, not so change it from I want to lose weight. No, change it to I want to lose 20 pounds
within
6 months.
Yep.
That literally covers all of those letters in that acronym.
Very attainable.
Measurable, 20 pounds. What's the A again? I'm blanking. I need to know
attainable.
This. Attainable. Okay, 6 months. Definitely an attainable amount of time to lose 20 pounds. Realistic, 100% realistic. Time, 6 months. That's exactly how it works.
Boom.
I want to make $100,000. Don't stop there. Because that could be your goal.
I will make $100,000.
Okay. How are you going to get there?
By 85?
Yeah, right.
85?
Right. I want to make $100,000 in 6 months or whatever. I want to make $100,000 in 2023. Boom. That is how you get, or that is how you use SMART goals. Whether it's fitness, financial.
It's very possible.
Yeah, exactly. That absolutely it is. So yeah, the SMART goals is a great way.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we talk about real estate.
Yeah.
We haven't set specific goals with that yet, but
right.
we will.
Right.
That's one thing. I mean, specific could be, I will own a 3-family unit or 3-family property or something like that within this time period, within 2023.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Exactly.
That covers that. Honestly, that for me at least always helps break something down as reasonable. And to me, it relates a lot to that reverse engineering. The reverse engineering concept, guys, is like you start at the absolute top tier of your goals. Be a billionaire, I guess, could be a good example of that. And then you like branch it down like a tree. For those of you on video, you're kind of seeing me go where I'm going. Like basically like send out roots from each of those roots and reverse engineer it down the way.
And those roots are the ways to get to that.
Yep.
And then off of those roots, they have roots. And then off of those roots, there's roots on that. Because obviously to become a billionaire, you can't do that overnight.
Well, yeah, because you see become a billionaire and that's like, is that realistic?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like Mitchell just said, like that's not reasonable. Like if you don't actually break it down to the point where it's like, okay, daily I'll have to be doing this. Eventually get to that point. In the morning I'll have to be doing this.
Right.
At lunch I'll have to do this. At dinner time I'll have to do this.
Absolutely. Learning to use the law of attraction in your favor.
Yep.
Learning to use the things that the book The Secret talks about. Absolutely.
Which we before we knew about it used to reconnect.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. 100%. I think so. Something that I do. Were you finished? Okay,
I'm good. Yeah.
Something that I do is, and this is going to come off as making it easy on myself, and that's not at all what this is. But creating situations that I know I can win. I know I can be successful in. You know what I mean? So basically, say the original question again. I'm blanking on the wording used, but basically what I'm wanting to do is stack small wins on top of each other because I know it's going to lead to a big win.
Yeah.
So, what are ways to set reasonable expectations?
Set reasonable expectations. Okay, so
like Jacob just described, you don't just say, I'm going to be a billionaire. Okay. You have to set these that are attainable.
Set these steps that are attainable. So
correct.
Attainable. That's the word I was looking for. I set attainable situations for myself so I know that I can attain them. Again, it's not just, brush my teeth like that. For some people, maybe that is.
We did talk about that one. That's it's kind of funny. Yeah.
For some people, maybe that is the thing. I'm gonna be honest, like, dude, brush your teeth.
Yeah,
like, your breath stinks.
If you're missing like 4 teeth, like you're gonna have to get some veneers, dog.
No, that's for British people.
Well, at least.
Damn it. Or the Eureka Walmart.
Man,
Those people, yeah.
imagine nationalizing your healthcare. Oh wait, countries. Never mind.
Anyway.
Breaking news.
Anyway, so setting myself up for success is basically what I'm doing. And even if that's something incredibly hard, like I don't know, like the Murph.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the goal there. How do I put myself in the best position to be successful at the Murph? I train for it. I run, I do push-ups, I do pull-ups, I do squats, all of that kind of stuff.
Maybe you follow the Murph workouts that they put on
the
Instagram.
Murph workouts. Yeah, literally for free. Yeah, by the way.
Which is sick, by the way.
They're awesome.
Anytime you can get free, like for those of you that are like, I don't know if I can get into fitness, there are free workouts on social media.
Yeah. Try to just find it from a credible person.
Please.
Yeah.
And the Murph workouts are credible people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Even Brad Martin, he does a lot of free stuff too. And I would 100% vouch for him. But anyway, I basically set attainable things for myself, things that I know I can attain, and they're small things, but things I know I can attain that are going to be like, okay, hey, I accomplished that. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, now I can accomplish that. Okay, great. I accomplished that. I feel good. Let's move on to the next one. So throughout the day, you are constantly accomplishing things, so you are always being productive. And that's sort of a 75 hard thing, I guess.
I mean, definitely related to it in a way. Yeah,
100%. But anyway, that's a method I use.
Now, my question for you there.
Sure.
Do you set only daily attainable wins, or do you set weekly attainable wins and monthly, et cetera, too, sometimes ever?
If I'm being 100% honest, it's usually daily.
Yeah.
And that's honestly probably something I need to do better is set more long-term goals.
The reason I literally asked that because I don't myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should.
And it's very difficult. And something that I just did, I don't know, probably 3 to 4 weeks ago, the actual timeline doesn't really matter, but is I finally actually made a vision board. And it is in my room hanging. You've seen my cork boards that are full of different ideas I use for Merry Mondays. I have some quotes up there, a few pictures of the boys and whatnot. But
gang,
I took down some old stuff from one of them, and I was like, okay, I've read The Secret. I listened to what Andy talks about on that kind of a topic of the law of attraction. I've read other things from other sources on the law of attraction and what actually seeing things in your mind, what it can actually do for you. I'm like, why the hell would I not try and do this for myself? Like, why would I not, if I'm reading this in The Secret and it says, essentially what you continue to think about and what you continue to say you want so if you focus on what you want rather than what you don't want, like you're going to attract those things. That's a horrible explanation of that. But it
pretty much covers
a better way to say it is if you're constantly thinking of the things you don't want, like I don't want to have bad health. You're going to get sick because you're constantly thinking about not
hypochondriac.
Exactly. So if you're constantly thinking about, I want to have good health, I will have good health, I want to have good health, stuff like that, like you're going to be healthy. You will. And that sounds crazy just hearing it, but like if you actually read the book and it goes into more in depth and says it a lot better than what I just did, it makes sense. Like it's craziest thing because I was a little skeptical of this book. I really was. Full transparency. I was very skeptical. I'm like, there's no way if I just start thinking about stuff, it's going to happen. I've already experienced it. It's sick. Crazy.
That's sick.
And it's not just like, I'm going to sit here and think I want $1 million tomorrow. Like, no, that's not how that works. Like, it's not how that works.
Guys, Wurtz just meditated live on the podcast,
live on air.
just in case you missed it on YouTube.
But there is truth to it, and it's crazy, and it literally goes through real life examples in the book, and like it's insane, and I highly recommend it to everybody. But I finally made this vision board, so every single day, I am seeing my goals. I am seeing the type of house that I want to have. I am seeing a certain car that I want. Certain like social media things that I want, certain podcast things, even things for us here. I'm seeing them, literally seeing the numbers. And it's kind of funny. Like I know how to basically change a website, and I know you know how to like inspect Mitch. Like obviously it's a somewhat basic thing to do, but like I could go on to ESPN and Jacob Wurtz named greatest slow pitch softball pitcher ever, and it looks like it's on the front headline of ESPN. Now it wouldn't change it for you, but it would on my screen. So I went to different companies that I want to be involved in, and I went to how we see our Spotify and Apple Music stats for the podcast, and I changed the numbers to what I want to see. I changed and put my name into certain things in the actual website, and then I printed it off. I took a screenshot, printed it off, it's hanging up in my room. and it's sick.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool because now I'm seeing it like, I don't want to say him because like it's mine, but like you're seeing it and it's like, damn, like it's real right there. So I know what I need to do to make it real in real life. And it's cool. It's super, super powerful. And so that's another thing that I use to set attainable things. I know that's not directly answering the question there, but it's still helpful. I hope.
I mean, it's still free game.
Yeah,
that's still
exactly.
really good free game.
Yeah, there's just something about seeing it. Seeing is believing.
Mm-hmm.
You see Santa Claus. Well, Santa Claus is real.
I still believe he's real.
Yeah, he is.
That was some extra sauce. That was good stuff.
That was some really,
that was good
really nice extra sauce.
Kind of went off there, or went on a tangent there for a little bit, but I don't know. That's the methods I use.
Chipotle ranch, top of the pod there.
Ain't no Chipotle ranch.
What? Chipotle ranch is great.
Okay, all right. Well, we are going on an hour here for this episode, guys. So
we're losing, as you can tell.
Yeah, right. Guys, I know you found some value in this episode if you stuck around this full hour, and I really hope you did. And guys, we are just, again, like we said in episode 1, we're super excited about season 3, all these new formats, diving into new topics and whatnot. Again, we have guests lined up, and we're really excited about this year for Untapped. Like, we are finally going full Untapped. We are super, super excited about this. So, guys, we appreciate you being here. If you ever have any questions for us, comments for us, like, do not hesitate to reach out and let us know. Mm-hmm. Continue sharing the show. Please tell your family, friends about it. Text it to people. Put it on your Instagram stories. That helps us grow so much, and it really means the world to us.
It's just so cool to hear from you guys. It
really is.
Like, that was it's season 3 when it started around, and I have people asking me in person, which is 1, awesome,
it's
and
so
2,
cool.
You see it on social media, especially on Instagram. Like, people are like fire episode. The boys really brought it this one. Like, even like little stuff like that.
Yes,
it is. By the way, it's free to do that. Just in case you enjoy our stuff, it is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take any effort.
No one's going to judge you for having a podcast on your Instagram story. Like, I know you guys see me filling my story with sharing
who's this pussy who put Untapped podcast on their story? It's like, dude, that's not what they're going to say.
Yeah, right.
Put it on there.
100%.
Yeah.
So, guys, please continue to do that. Thank you for listening. Until next time, peace and love.
Thanks, guys.